In order to understand where your biases come from, we're going to talk about one of the main drivers of your implicit bias, one of the main contributors, and those are stereotypes. So, what a stereotype is a judgment or a characteristic that's often attributed to a specific group of people, but that characteristic may or may not be true for any one specific individual that's in the group. For instance, these stereotypes are often associated with a person's race or their gender, their age group, or any other characteristic really that is attributed to a group, or any other characteristic that kind of describes a group of people. And so, again, these stereotypes are associated with these groups in society or by society, but that may not be the case for every specific individual in the group, and they kind of get lumped in. And so stereotypes often drive our implicit biases, and our implicit biases are the subconscious attitudes and perceptions that influence our understanding and our actions and our behavior when we interact or think about different various identities. And so when we think about a group of people, we automatically feel a certain way towards them, or we automatically associate one of these stereotypical characteristics with them. And so that often are those implicit biases that they determine how we interact with them, and also how we view this specific group of people, and often how we interact with each individual in that group. So I'll give you an example. A societal claim is society is biased about technology. So I would say in our society, we have certain societal biases, implicit biases that we automatically associate with people about technology. And so if I show you this picture, which one of these people would you automatically look at and think, oh, they're probably in technology, or they're good with technology? Our society would have you to believe that the person on the right with the tie and the pants is our technology person. And oftentimes we would have you believe that the young lady on the left side of the picture is not very technologically advanced. Even this is a cartoon that I pulled up that shows Barbie saying that she's only creating the designs. She needs Brian and Steven's help to turn it into a real game. And so, these are the messages that we're sending with our stereotypical views about girls in general, about maybe blondes in this instant, maybe attractive young girls that, they are all about the design, but they don't really have the brains to kind of run the ship, so to speak, when it comes to technology. Yet we would have you to think that the person on the right with the glasses, the tie, the short sleeve button down, the technology watch, that's the kind of what fits our stereotypical mold when you think about somebody that's good at technology. And so what causes these societal biases? So we all have schemas that help us kind of make sense of the world. And what our schema is if you look at this depiction of this tree where the roots go down, that those are our deep-rooted thoughts and values, and that is kind of what drives the way that we think about everything in the world. And those are oftentimes things that we don't, thoughts and ideas we don't really know that we have. They're just ingrained in us, and often they are a product of our environment, our upbringing, our raising. who we've associated with in our life from early on into adulthood. Sometimes our schemas mistake or make us miss things or misinterpret things, and that's what we call our unconscious bias. Um, and so I've mentioned earlier in a lecture about a book called Blind Spot: The Hidden Biases of Good People. We all have these unconscious biases, and it doesn't make us a bad person. Again, we are a product of our environment. We're a product of who and what we've associated ourselves with for our entire life. And so those things have really helped us form our schema or our ingrained ways of thinking. And so those are the types of things that we have to address as we begin to research and communicate our research with a larger audience. We have to make sure that we're looking from an objective lens and we're reducing the bias both in our actions and in our communication, because we really do take our unconscious bias everywhere we go, right? This is how we interact with people, the subtle dynamics between or in our interactions, the policies that we kind of develop, the policies and procedures which lead to these institutional barriers. So we really have to keep our unconscious bias in check and make sure that we are proactively looking at everything through an objective lens and taking the subjectivity out of it. And so keep that in mind as you progress through and as you begin to think about topics that you would like to research, and the impact that you would like to have.